Hi there and hello, my name is Connor. Kyou no doga de wa tricot no and ni tsuite hanashitemasu. This is the second album by the Japanese math rock band called Tricot. This is technically a part 2 to a video I made a few months ago about their first album, so if you're interested and you haven't seen that, I'd say maybe watch that first because I will be referencing it somewhat in this video. So I'll come right out and say it. I think this is maybe my least favorite Tricot album, which is unfortunate because it comes up so early in their discography. The band was kind of in a weird spot at this point in their career as well. Prior to recording this album, they actually had their main drummer leave. His name was Komaki, and he was no longer with the band. And so because of that, the band was kind of scrambling to see who they could get to play the drums, because believe it or not, that's a pretty important part of a rock band. Who knew? And so it's for that reason that there's a lot of drummers listed on here. So I count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and one of which was Komaki, who did 2 of the songs, but not the other 8. The band was kind of in flux at this point in their career. I think it's for that reason that this album sounds generally kind of inconsistent, and is probably why I rank it so low across their discography. I still think there's some pretty good songs on here, though not all of them are up to the quality of pretty much on any of their other albums, I feel like. So enough of the preamble, let's talk about the actual songs here. The very first one is called No Adrenaline, and it's actually really fantastic. I know I just kind of spent some time talking about why I don't like this album. However, I think this is maybe the strongest first song any of their albums actually have. I think the lyrics are really fantastic on this song, and generally I think they are fantastic, yet sad, very, very sad, and it makes me feel sad for her. And also I think the song is supposed to make you feel sad for the people who tried to help her as well, because then they would just get kind of harassed and bullied themselves for actually standing up for EQ. So it was kind of this like never-ending cycle of just kind of harassment, and she felt like the catalyst for that. And it's a sad song, but man, it's really rocking. I like this a lot, and I'm happy it exists because it's a cool song, but just kind of sad subject matter. That's kind of what I feel like happens a lot on this album. Like their first album, which touches on a lot of very like sad and also very insular sorts of thoughts and feelings, there is more of that here, and honestly it just kind of makes me sad for EQ because she seems to be able to write about this fairly easily, and I hope she's okay. The next song is called Hashire, which means like run, and it has a ton of reverb on EQ, which of course sounds fantastic. As I mentioned in my first video, Tricot actually uses a lot of reverb that I think you could maybe even consider them shoegaze. However, I feel like that aspect of their music is kind of overshadowed just by how math rocky they are. So I feel like no one ever really brings it up. It's definitely there though. And I don't really feel like you have to listen all that closely. It's just like, oh wow, that's a lot of reverb on her voice and the guitars and a lot of feedback. And yeah, they're very shoegaze, but no one ever talks about it. I don't know. The song Hashire also features probably their first use of a keyboardist too. And so that is present here, and it sounds really fun, and it's a nice change of pace. I like it, but I don't think it really fits their style. So this only shows up a few times throughout the album, and I'm pretty satisfied that that never really continued in any sort of serious way in their future albums. I just don't think it really works for their sound, like I said. The following song, E, is just a classic Tricot song and math rock song. It's fantastic. I love the groove, I love the percussion, and I just love how all of the musicians are playing off each other. And I feel like even now I can perfectly hear it in my head because I've been listening to it for years and years and years and years, and it is such a banger. It's so fantastic. I think my favorite part of the song is at the end of the second verse where EQ sings Ike, and it is just beautiful. It's so on pitch. It's so just well delivered. It's well recorded. It is crisp. It is clean. It is metallic and steely and just really like stabbing in its delivery. But enough about that. Our next song is called Iro no Nai Suiso, which means colorless aquarium. And I gotta say, EQ really spits here. She's cooking with the lyrics, and she is just firing it off like so quickly and so fast. I think this opening run of like 5 or 6 songs on this album is actually kind of legendary for Tricot. And again, not my favorite album, but they kick it into high gear on this one. It's insane. So I'd really like to go over the 2 verses here, which are as follows. Inside this aquarium, I've grown used to being called cute. I've lived this long, never noticing how lukewarm those words are. So my nose ended up plugged. Oh my. My mouth tries to take on all of my breathing, and I'll probably start to lose my sense of reality. My voice is run down, painful to the ears. I've drained my tank of most everything, 'cause more than anything, I hate hearing that something's just hypothetical. So my ears ended up plugged. Oh my. I'll probably start forgetting to take deep breaths. I just get all kinds of like imagery from that, and a real sense of almost like self-loathing and also a lack of confidence. And I just love the way that she uses this colorless aquarium as an analogy for something that should be so bright and beautiful and just isn't, and is actually just more restrictive than it should be. Again though, it's another sad introspective song, and I just feel bad for EQ. I don't know. It's not easy being a fish, you know? It's just not. So anyway, the next song is called Kobe Number. And this is another tricot classic, and it's also one that will be very important for a future album that I talk about too. Wink, wink, if you know, you know. I think this is a very sweet song that is almost kind of deceptively sweet, given the circumstances of the song's narrative. Okay, so basically, the lyrics are conceptually about continuing a relationship with someone after getting rejected by them. And I really love the first verse in particular. She basically uses this first verse as an intro as to why she's writing the song. And she even has a line that is something like, maybe it's time to change the strings, which of course is her alluding to the fact that, oh no, I haven't written any songs in a while. Well, now I have a reason to, so I have to go change the strings on my guitar because they're probably old and worn out and need to be changed. I don't think there's anything negative I could ever say about the way EQ writes tricot lyrics. They are just too fantastic. However, I will say, if you've seen my video on her side project called Susu, it's an EP from 2024. I was not really a fan there. So if you'd like to listen to me talk about the inverse of kind of what I just said there, go check out that video because it's a real trip. I'll just say that. The next song is called Kieru, which means to erase. And honestly, this song has never really done much for me. I like the instrumental. Everyone in the band is doing a fantastic job playing their instruments. There's just something about the vocal recording for EQ that just, this is not it. And I don't know what happened here because it is just so unlike a lot of their other songs. I feel like this song is the first sign of trouble and is kind of where the album starts to fall apart. Similarly, on the next song called Pain, I like it, just not that much. I think this one just got a little bit too weird, which is saying a lot because Tricot is inherently a weird sounding band, and usually that's for the better, but I don't think this is it either. I don't think they should have included this song on the album. I believe this song actually came out prior to this album releasing. I think it was on an EP or maybe a single. I wish it stayed that way. It's okay, but I just don't really like it all that much. Though I will say I do really like the strobe sound effect used on the vocals and also on the percussion, but not that much. And so I almost think that they went so weird with it because the song was just kind of lacking any sort of momentum or interesting factor. I think they said, oh, this song's kind of mid, let's do just something out of left field to kind of maybe elevate that, and it was just not successful, and that's too bad. That's really too bad. The next song is called Shokutaku, which is kind of like dining table or like table for eating. It's pretty much just dining room table. To me, this song has always felt like a leftover from their first album, THE, which I'm super down for because I love that album. I also really do like the theme of this song as well. So for this one, the story basically centers on seeing someone have everything they could ever want, that although they have everything, it's meaningless to them because they're just taking it for granted. I feel like we see that a lot in real life, but I've never heard it actually contextualized in a song like this. She basically describes this other person as having a table full of food, thus the title, but all of it having no taste or nutritional value to it. I like this a lot, and again, she is like an analogy goddess. I don't know how she does it, but she knocked out of the park on this one, which thank God, because at this point in the track list, it kind of needed this sort of Hail Mary. So I'm really happy this song showed up when it did because it was sorely needed. So the next song is another one that's fairly contentious. It's called Niwa, which means garden or courtyard. I don't like this song. I'm gonna go on record saying that. I think it's fun. I think it's unique, and I really like seeing how much fun the band has playing it live. I just know that if I was ever at a show and they played it live, I would kind of be bummed out. I think the song is just too wacky in a non-fun kind of way. I don't want to listen to this song. This almost never makes it onto a rock playlist when I make one because I just do not like the screaming. Again, I think the recording aspect of it is fairly poor, and I don't know quite why, though I will say EQ goes crazy on this song, and thank God, because she kind of saves it, but not enough for me to actually fully enjoy the song. Call me a hater if you want. All I know is that there's other people out there who agree with me because I know them and they have also said, ooh, yeah, I skipped that one. And honestly, I totally get it. The following song is called CBG. And again, this feels like a leftover from that first album. So 1 thumb up already. I really like Ikkyu's hushed vocals as she sings the intro. Another thumbs up. I will say, I feel like the lyrics really go over my head on this one. You are welcome to look this one up if you so choose, but I don't get it. I think this is so esoteric or some kind of inside joke or like musing that I just don't get. I like the instrumental. I like the way Ikkyu sings on it, so it's gonna get those 2 thumbs up from me. I just don't understand the themes of the lyrics, and that's okay. I'm not perfect. I'm sure people out there get it, but I am maybe just too stupid to wrap my stupid little head around it. So maybe you like it though, so maybe check it out. The next song is called QFF, and this is the second to last song on the track list. Personally, I find this to just be an absolutely beautiful and powerful song, and probably one of the band's best in their entire discography. On this one in particular, I feel like you can really hear the passion of all of the band members through the lyrics and the instrumentation on this song. Personally, I think this is a 10 out of 10 song from the band, and for that reason, I'd like to go over all of the lyrics on this song because I think they are incredibly interesting. I don't want to say what the theme is right this second, but I will be having further discussion on it once I get through it, so let's go. You're such a deadly poison. I feel even drugs are safer. I begin to lose myself. Please don't forgive me for that. My emergency signal is flickering at 11 p.m. It doesn't seem we'll be able to pass this international date line together. This night is so stifling. I feel my heart might just stop. Every week on this day, I die over and over again. I begin to lose myself. Tell me I'm not acting right. Tell me I'm boring. Just a little more and the bubble will burst. I'm not afraid. I always knew it was coming. I'm waiting for it with closed eyes. I'm sure our remaining time tonight will accelerate once again. I'm afraid if even then you still won't hold me, I'll just be waiting for that time to come. You're such a deadly poison. I feel even drugs are safer. I begin to lose myself. Please don't forgive me for that. I take off my watch and it begins. An endless night. If you're really serious, then whisk me away, even if it stops my heart. Tell me it will never end. It's clear to me that in this song, Ikkyu is really struggling with unrequited love. She's so in love with this person that she even acknowledges that she's losing her identity to this relationship. And from the sound of it, she's in a very codependent position and that she would rather die than to actually give this person up as seen on that final line. Even if it stops my heart, tell me it will never end. I also think my favorite part of the song is in the 3rd verse. So over here, I have all of the lyrics with a number to kind of signify which sentence I'm talking about without having to completely say the sentence over and over again. So hopefully this helps you follow along to what I'm about to explain. In lines 1, 2, and 3, we see that Ikkyu is pleading with the person to just give her one reason to fall out of love with him. So it also seems that the only thing that can actually do that job is if he directly insults her, because she is just not willing or able to really give up on this relationship in the slightest. Lines 4, 5, and 6 is that kind of existential fear of knowing that something is coming to an end, but being unable to actually stop it yourself. I just get the sense that she is so scared of this oncoming reality that she's just waiting for it with her eyes closed, like a victim about to be killed off in some kind of horror movie, where she knows it's coming and she can't stop it, so all she can do is just kind of like wait for the car to like hit her. She is essentially frozen in terror and in fear, and all she can do is accept her fate. Maybe there's a chance she could still fix it if she actually tried. So what's really interesting about this song too is that it's actually the longest in their discography. I feel like the runtime really gives the song enough of a chance to actually explore its themes through the lyrics and also through the instrumentation too, and I think that's just a fantastic thing. I think it's a really intimate and honest description of a nightmare that is just all too real for everyone. Oh, and also, have I mentioned that Ikkyu is like borderline crying throughout this entire song too? She's basically wailing the lyrics. And so you can really feel that I think writing these lyrics took some kind of emotional toll on her, which I think just backs up the claim that this is a very real experience that has happened to her. I think the song is just absolutely chilling in every way and is a true proper contender for one of my favorite tricot songs ever. I also think the outro of this song is fantastic, and it also features one of the few notable instances of them introducing a keyboardist as well. Yeah, I think this is a 10 out of 10 song easy, and so even though I'm not a huge fan of this second tricot album, this is one I always come back to, and I definitely think it makes the album worth checking out too. The final song is called Break, but break? More like bleak. This song is sad in a very happy way. In this song, Ikkyu describes wanting to shrink, almost wishing that she didn't have feelings and how nice that situation would be for her. She wishes that she was a pocket tissue that could only have to exist for one purpose and that could easily be thrown away once used. Her analogy is just so odd and unique, but also pertinent, and just cements her as a fantastic songwriter and lyricist. And of course, the way she sings it is just beautiful as well. This was another song from an EP of theirs, and I am so happy that it made it on this album. What a fantastic outro song. I love this so much. And please be sure to stay for this song if you do start listening to the album. I think it's so worth it. Okay, so that is the entire run of A&D by the band Tricot. I really feel like this album has some highs and lows, as you can probably tell from everything I've said so far. For instance, I find that this album has slightly weaker vocals from EQ overall. As much as I love Break, I do feel like she is really straining to sing in this song, which is surprising because all of the notes that she needs to hit should be slam dunks, but they're not. I think at this point, we as listeners know what she sounds like when she's trying to attempt to sound a certain way when she's singing. And so this kind of strain on her voice does not sound intentional. So I don't know what's up with that. Weird, but it's not song ruining for me. While I do like the lyrics on this album and why I spent multiple minutes covering QFF, I just don't think the lyrics are as poignant as they were on that first album. I do feel like the songs stand out more on their own while still having a pretty good sense of cohesion to the track list. While I think one reason for this is the use of keyboards on some of the songs. I think because each of those handful of drummers brought their own style and flavor to each of their songs, I think a lot of the songs really stand out kind of on their own because of that. There is a lot of cohesion because there are still 3 primary members playing on every song, because the percussionists, who are very important to the overall structure of a song, are not the same people. We get a lot of like imbalances. I will say that I'm happy that this album exists. I really feel like it served as a springboard for the band to try out new things, and so through this experimentation, I feel like their following album really came out all the better for it. Score-wise, I think I'd maybe give this between a 7 and an 8, though I think a 7 is more fitting. I think there are some absolutely fantastic songs on here. I think the score is just brought down by the fact that there are just too many songs I do not like. And to make matters worse, some of the vocals from EQ that were recorded just do not sound all that good, and I don't know why they went with those. I feel like that has to be a conscious, creative choice, but I don't know why you would choose to sound objectively bad. That's a new one for me, I think. With that said, I'm going to give this album a 7 out of 10. It's still got some fantastic songs on here. QFF, Break, Noradrenaline, Kobe Number, E, just awesome stuff. I just think there's too much weighing it down to really stand up against their much better songs and much better albums, but I still like it nonetheless. Yeah, that's my review. I hope to come out with my video for their next album soon, but these take a while to write, and I think I've been recording this video for about 50 minutes, so they take a while to record and edit as well. And honestly too, if you do really like this album, please let me know why. I would love to have a second opinion for this because I'd love to be wrong. I would love for this to be another fantastic album that I'm just missing something about. So anyway, thank you for watching and have a good rest of your day.